Hello everyone, Phil here, and welcome back to DSP versus the Internet, our weekly clips react show where I react to the clips that you, the members, submit here on DSP Reacts. This is episode 59 for April 7th, 2024, and we jump into a nice variety of clips this week. Ultra members first. As you remember, the way it works is Ultra members of this channel, who are the biggest level of supporters, are absolutely guaranteed to be able to have their clip watched 4 times a month. Once a week, we watch your clips, okay? If you are a submissions tier member, then you get to put your clip into a randomized playlist, and there's a good chance we watch it, although it's not guaranteed. It all depends on the week and how many people have submitted and stuff like that. I can tell you this. Last week, we watched every single clip. This week, there's more submissions. Chances are we probably will not get to every single clip this week, okay? Also, a couple quick reminders. If you are going to submit clips for this show, please be careful. A couple people submitted clips that were flagged for adults this week. We can't watch those. Reason being, if you watch anything on YouTube that's flagged adults only, like 18 plus, the whole stream will get flagged like that. And then, obviously, then the stream might get shut down. I don't want that to happen. So we can't watch the 18 plus clips on here. And it sucks because sometimes the clips are actually pretty good. Remember, a few weeks ago, I said there was one on heavy rain, and YouTube had idiotically flagged it. I don't know why. Really stupid. But just be careful about that. It's actually the same thing for content for children, because content for children is considered non-monetizable on YouTube. So if you submit like a clip of a TV show or a song and it's flagged for kids, we can't watch that either. Okay? All right. Well, let's get started. I think this first video is a comedy skit. And guys, please let me know how it sounds. If it, I need to know the volume levels, if I need to adjust or not on the fly. I appreciate those who tell me that. Let me just refresh one screen here. And then we are going to begin. Okay? All right. Here we go.
Everybody in the lucky number 8 golden core group. Okay, come here. You follow the sound of my voice, okay?
It's kind of hard to hear with the... I think if he wasn't using that bullhorn, it would sound better. But I think, like, the problem is he's using a bullhorn, but you're trying to record it, and it echoes too much. It's hard to make out what he's saying. The people in the hall can probably hear it better. But us, it's actually harder to hear. It's supposed to be a comedy skit, but I can barely understand what he's saying, right?
Very good. Everybody welcome.
Oh, that's better.
To the Arshang Jade Museum. This is the biggest and most beautiful jade stone in all of China. It's the #1, very valuable, okay? Okay, you look at the...
Why are they laughing? Did he spit? I don't understand. What's the comedy joke? What's the joke there? He spit? Okay.
Jade, and then I gonna make it the phone call, okay? Very good, okay. 喂，讲话大声一点，听不到你在说什么？嘿。This is FBI Special Agent Chang. Yeah, I still don't know who in the tour group is the jade thief, but I'm gonna catch him. And that means not blowing my cover as a Chinese tour guide. What's that, Paradowski? You think my cover perpetuates Asian stereotypes? No offense, you're a white guy. I don't care what you think.
I wonder where he does this comedy. Like, where is this, right? In the world. Is this in the United States? Is he doing this for like a primarily Asian audience? In which case they find that the stereotypes are funny? I'm just curious. I don't know anything about this guy. Woody Fu? I mean, he has 409,000 views for a comedy video on YouTube is actually pretty good. So, okay.
Now, I'm gonna go back in there. I'm gonna take some surveillance photos of the suspect. Yes, Paradowski, I'll be inconspicuous. Okay, we're taking a picture now, everybody. Okay, everybody will take a picture with a selfie. It'll be lots of fun, okay? Lots of fun. Okay, everybody, on the count of 3, we all say, a happy China, okay? Okay, everybody, on the count of 3, we all say, happy China. You ready? 1, 2, 3, happy China. Okay, very good picture. Very fun picture. Very good. Okay.
What the,
okay.
you hear? The, who's laughing like that? I also, and it's not just this. Like all stand-up comedy shows, there's always like one or two people who are laughing insanely, uncontrollably in the audience. It's like, are you watching the same show we all are? Like, yeah, the person's funny, but like, what happened? It's like their hysterical fit. They got to get in there and fucking hold them down so they don't fucking have like a heart attack or something. Like, what the hell is with these people, right? I mean, I don't know, man. Oh, okay, I'm being told he lives in New York. He performs at UCB and performs with Boom Chicago, Baby Wants Candy, and Thrones. He's from New York. Okay.
Okay, I go on break now. See you later. DVD for sale! I have a DVD for sale. I have a Joker. I have a new Toy Story. I have a Tyler Perry Medea. Very cheap, very real. Okay, I just got a photo and positive ID of the suspect. Yeah, it's the guy in the picture who's white and looks very uncomfortable. What's that, Paradowski? You think my cover is racist? You know what, Paradowski? When you're the only Chinese FBI field agent, then come talk to me, okay? You guys just get ready to move in if the Jade Thief tries anything. All right.
So, again, I'm trying to figure it out. Like, is the joke that he's actually Chinese, so he can do all these stereotypes and it's okay? But if anyone else did the stereotypes, they'd be considered like, oh, that's way offensive, racist? I'm trying to understand the joke. Because I'll be honest, I actually don't think that the stereotypes are funny. You know what I mean? I don't find what he's doing, the over-the-top stuff, isn't really funny. To me, maybe. But a lot of people are laughing. So it's like, I think the joke is lost on me. Maybe I'm just not in the group that finds it funny. If you were Chinese, would you find this funny because it's like over the top being stereotypical, right? Like maybe if this was Italian and there was like an Italian guy doing over the top like mafioso Italian stereotypes, right? That would be considered offensive if you're not Italian. I don't know. I don't know if it would be funny. I actually don't know if that would be funny either. I don't know, man. Some people are saying there's no joke, it's just racism. Yeah, but I mean, this is a video with 409,000 views and actually lots of thumbs up and positive feedback on YouTube about it. So obviously people disagree with you. They think it's funny, right? I mean, I kind of want to see what the end of it is. Like, what is the final punchline? Let's see.
Go back in camouflage in a low-key disguise.
Even more stereotypical.
This is Chinese lion dance, very lucky. If you are a Jade Thief, I'm not FBI. Freeze, you son of a bitch, FBI. I lied in the song.
Royal Mountie Ice Patrol says there's lots of edgy boys and racists on the internet who would find this funny. But again, he's in a hall of people who are all hilariously cracking up, right? So again, I don't get it. I'm still kind of lost. Like, what? I understand the joke is supposed to be that he's over the top stereotypical and it's offensive. If he weren't Chinese, it would be offensive. But I get what the joke's supposed to be, but I don't find it funny. Like, I don't think what he's doing is funny. So so I don't get it. But apparently he's popular, right?
Now I'm gonna very slowly put this down because I literally put down a $500 cash deposit on it earlier today. I got him, guys. Move in, move in. He made a move for the Jade while I was singing to the tour group. Paradowski, I know you don't like my methods, but I get results. Now where's my next assignment? Jamaica?
Oh my God.
I'm ready.
All right. So again, so now they're saying, oh, now he's going to do stereotypes, but it's not where he comes from, his ethnicity. So now it's going to be offensive. I kind of get it, but still, I didn't think it was funny. I didn't think it was. It wasn't. He didn't push it far enough to be offensive enough to be funny because it's offensive, right? But at the same time, again, maybe if I were Chinese, I would have found that funny. I don't know. All right, let's continue. I don't know. I just didn't find that funny at all.
This video is sponsored by Brookdale and the Grateful Life web series. We'll discuss it more in detail later in the video. Yes, I'm a bit biased given I'm in my 40s. But for all of you who are in a similar life stage as me, I want to share with you 40 simple reasons why I think life really gets better after 40. Number one reason why life gets better after 40.
I can't pause it. Sometimes this happens, right? I can't pause stuff. I'm like, it just like freezes, right? Anyway, let's get rid of an idiot and continue. Okay, so make corny jokes and get away with it. Here we go.
You can now make ridiculously corny jokes, and the best part, you can get away with it. Why couldn't the bicycle stand up? It was too tired. Number two reason. In the line of being confident with corny jokes, you're confident with your own fashion. You can rock your own style. In the past 3 decades, you've tried them all. The super cool, trendy fashion. The polished, I have it all figured out fashion. The relaxed, I don't care fashion. And now, you really don't care. You buy your pants from Costco, you wear t-shirts that you got for free from your latest work conference, and you show up to pick up your kids from school wearing a fanny pack. You rock your own style. Middle-aged style. Number 3, to go along with your middle-aged fashion, you can rock your own dance move. Or to be honest, you don't know any up-to-date dance moves that are popular these days, or have any desire to learn. So you revert back to what you know. The Running Man, the Humpty Dance, the Cabbage Patch. Makes it pretty obvious that you grew up in the 90s and your kids are embarrassed to be seen with you. But by the time you reach your 40s, you really do not care. What really matters is that you're having fun and being true to yourself. Number 4, in general, you're just more comfortable being yourself. When you were younger, you spent so much of your energy caring so much about what other people thought about you. You gave other people power by allowing them to dictate your life.
It's true.
And now in your 40s, you're a lot more comfortable being yourself. You feel a lot more comfortable in your skin. You make decisions without caring so much about what other people think. You wear things without thinking about what other people would say. You say things that are true to yourself, not what others want to hear from you. When I turned 40, I was like, I accept myself more now. It was much more comforting. Number 5 reason why life gets better after 40. You have a better grip of reality. Not like we were out of touch with reality before, but it's true that when many of us were young, we were driven by over-the-top dreams and goals. Climbing Mount Everest, flying out to space as an astronaut, becoming a tech billionaire. I'm not saying we should discount our dreams and goals because what is life if we don't have our goals and dreams? It's just that by the time we reach our 40s, we realize what is realistic and what is not anymore. What is possible on planet Earth and what is a fantasy. Climbing Mount Everest is cool, but maybe I should start with climbing the local park. Flying out to space would have been awesome, but I'm content with flying to Cincinnati. Tech billionaire? I'm fine with being financially comfortable. And a better grip on reality helps with the next reason why life gets better after 40.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty good list. Even though I don't agree with all of it, it's a pretty reasonable list. When you get older, right, you just don't care that much about a bunch of the bullshit that was so angsty when you were young. And that's really what the whole list is. Everything was, you were so angsty when you were young, and you just stop caring as you get older about that shit. You start focusing in on things that are more important. It's true.
You now realize everyone is winging it.
Yep.
You had a growing suspicion in your 20s and 30s, but now you can confirm it. You're now the one making executive decisions at work. You write now the so-called important reports that everyone reads, and you attend parent-teacher conference because you are a responsible adult. But you see it even more clearly now. Everyone is winging it because you are winging it. No one has life figured out, and that feels great to know. Number 7, you have greater clarity about.
If anything, you want to know what taught us that the most? I mean, I think the whole world figured that out during COVID, right? We always had this weird notion that people in charge or the governments knew what they were doing. And then COVID hits and literally no one knows how to handle it. No government has anything ready for it. Everyone is winging it to try to survive during COVID. Everyone did it completely differently, right? And you look at it, you're like, wow, now there's your evidence. You didn't have to wait till you were 40 to figure that one out because no one knew what the fuck was going on during COVID, right? There you go.
Life. When you're in the 4th decade of your life, you have experienced a lot. Definitely not everything compared to someone in their 8th decade of life, but you've at least experienced enough to help you better understand more about yourself. You've been in love and out of love. You've been accepted and you've been rejected.
Yeah.
You've worked with some amazing people and some crazy ones. You found success and you found just as many failures or probably more. So now you have a more clear picture about who you are and what you want out of life going forward. And that is gold. Number 8, you have a greater control over your life. When you were young, you were afraid to say no. You thought closed doors were permanent. But now, after having faced many closed doors, you realize they're not a big deal at all. Often, they're a blessing in disguise. Thus, you make decisions more boldly. You take greater control of your life because it is your life. I believe the second half of one's life is meant to be better than the first half. The first half is finding out how you do it, and the second half is enjoying it.
I completely agree with that statement. Seriously, because again, people say to me like, don't you wish that you were younger and you could redo it? Or don't you wish you were 20 again? And I'm like, no. I was unhappy in my 20s. I really was. I was completely unhappy. I thought my life sucked. I didn't like what I was doing with my life. I didn't like who I was. I didn't have any direction. Now in my 40s, I love my life. I love how things are going. I think things have potential to get even better in my life moving forward. This is so much nicer now than it ever has been before. And that's a great thing. I'm so much happier now than I ever was before this time in my life. Right? So why the holy hell would I think back to have people who have a midlife crisis, right? The people who have a midlife crisis are people who made awful decisions in their youth that trapped them into a life they never wanted, and now they're stuck in it and they can't escape it, right? I would never be in that situation. Everything that I've done led me to a place of happiness now, right? So this is absolutely true for me, 100%.
Number 9, you know your worth and value. You've accomplished things. Now you can confidently say, yes, I can do that. I'm good at that. I am an expert. As opposed to, I think I can. I can try. You know what you're good at and what you're not good at anymore. You know your value in the marketplace.
True.
Number 10, you understand that life is longer than you thought, and that is great news. I used to think that everything in one's life was settled by the time you turned 30. Your career, your family situation, your finances. Thus, anything after that was too late. But it is never too late. When you're in your 40s, you realize that life is a long journey. People are reinventing themselves all the time. So why not you? Number 11.
That's cool. I like
you
that.
realize
This is a
that
really
your
good
parents had
video.
no idea what they were doing. You remember when your parents were at your age. As a kid, you thought they knew it all. You believed everything they said as the truth. But now that you're in your 40s, you realize that your parents had no idea what they're doing. Because you have no idea what you're doing. The truth is that no one really knows what they're doing, no matter how confident they might look on the surface. We're all living this one life for the first time.
I will say this, all right? For as much as a safe home and a good environment that I feel like I was raised in thanks to my parents, I'm actually glad I realized that way early in my life. Like when I hit like 18 years old and I saw my dad and my mom, how they were living their lives, and I was like, I don't want to do some of the things they're doing. I want to be different. I want to take different kinds of risks and things. And they're, everything. No, you should do everything we did, and you should do this and that. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the way. A lot of people, they look at their parents or they look at other authority figures when they're growing up, and they're like, they know what they're doing. They got their stuff together. That's what I want to be. I was kind of the opposite. I was like, I don't think I want to do that because I'm not so confident that they actually know exactly what they're doing or what's going on. And a lot of my life decisions were dramatically different than what my parents did. And I will be honest with everyone here. I feel like if I did not take the risks that I took in my life, I would not be here today happy like I am. So I'm happy that I recognized that early on in my life, and I did things differently from what I was told to do. I'm not saying that my parents were bad intentioned. I'm not saying that my parents weren't looking out for me. I just feel like I would not be happy today, happily married, in this home, with this job, doing what I love, if I didn't take risks, which my parents definitely didn't want me to take. Okay, let's continue.
Number 12, because you realize you have a lot more in common with your parents than you thought, you have a lot more empathy towards your parents. All those decisions that they made to make your life miserable, you understand it now because you're making the same ones.
Right. And here's the thing. Like when I was younger, he's absolutely right again. When I was younger, I didn't understand that the reason that my parents said, did, and acted the way they did is because they were really afraid for me. They wanted to keep me safe or happy or protected. and they didn't want to see me fail and or have mistakes that were going to screw my life up, right? That's really what it was. It wasn't, we want to ruin his life or hold him back. I think a lot of people when they're young and they're, again, angsty, right? When you're a young, angsty teen or you're in your 20s, you feel like maybe your parents are stupid. They don't know any better. Or maybe they just want to hold me back, man. I mean, that's not what it is. They're looking out for your best interests, right? They don't want to see you run yourself off the cliff and not be able to make it back up, right? So I get it. But at the same time, as I got older now, I realized they didn't know any better to say what was the best thing for me. So even though maybe a lot of the things that they said or did or restricted me to do when I was younger, maybe I felt at the time it was just because they were being jerks. Now you look at them, you're like, no, I understand. They actually had my best interests at heart. And that's why I don't resent them. Thank God. You know, some people maybe do. They grow up in their whole life, they resent their parents and stuff. And I don't at all. I'm you know, I get it now, but it took a while. It took a long time. He's absolutely right. There's so many things you realize later in life. Because it's funny, because people will say to me, well, when you started on YouTube, I mean, technically you were an adult. You were in like your second half of your 20s, but look how you were acting. And I'm like, yeah, I was acting completely immature, right? Saying and doing things irresponsibly. Why? Because really, I wasn't really an adult yet. Honestly, I don't feel like I had been faced with enough experience, adversity, or anything in my life that would force me to learn from that and then grow. Instead, I led a pretty trite life, a pretty, you know, traveling playing Street Fighter. Like, that was it. That was the whole thing of my life at that time, up to that point. And then when that was taken from me because I had a back injury and I couldn't travel anymore, and I'm trying to find something else to do with my life, and I start tossing out, you know, YouTube videos and stuff, and some of them are actually getting clout and traction and stuff, right? It's like, whoa, this is different. People care about me. People care about my thoughts. People care about my opinions. And then people find me entertaining. People find me funny, different, you know? And then me acting irresponsibly as a YouTuber for many years, right? Doing stupid things, saying stupid things. It took me a long time to change for the better, but I did change for the better, thankfully, right? So anyway, I get it. I think we're going to move on from this video. I really like this video. This is probably the kind of video that I would keep watching myself, because I agree with many of the things he's saying here. And I didn't realize it until I was older. Like, in probably the last 5 to 7 years of my life is when all this stuff started to dawn on me, and I started to change for the better, I feel. So, okay, let's see what the next one is. I think it's a Warhammer video.
Bretonnians, the Warhammer army of knightly virtues. After being discontinued for years, it's finally coming back again in Warhammer the Old World, the new game that's reviving the old rank and flank playstyle of Warhammer Fantasy. Luckily for me, through all these years, I never stopped building my Bretonnian army.
So this is classic Warhammer. This is not Warhammer 40k, which is the futuristic one with Space Marines and demons and that stuff. This is like medieval style, like, you know, knights and magicians and stuff like that, correct? So this is how it started, I believe. That's what it looks like.
Time for the release of the Old World, a childhood dream army is finally ready for the table. In this video, I'll bring you on the journey of collecting, painting, and preparing a classic Bretonnian army for war. You're watching Eric's Hobby Workshop, and this is the return of the Bretonnians.
The Bretonnians?
A little while ago, I was invited to a Warhammer Fantasy event at the Mini Wargaming Bunker, which was the perfect motivation to finally get my army ready for the table. The tournament would be using 8th edition rules, which is the last edition of Warhammer Fantasy before it was discontinued back in 2015. However, the last time the Bretonnians got rules of their own was back in 2003, during 6th edition. So this is the book I had to use to build the army list.
So they kept making this stuff since till 2015, then they discontinued it, but what he said is the rules hadn't even been updated since 2003. So it's like, holy shit, like, imagine a video game that you keep playing for ages and ages, right? But they never updated it at all for a modern audience at all, and they just, wow, they're completely out of print. Interesting.
Just let that sink in for a moment. The last time that Bretonnians got rules was 2003. Do you remember 2003?
Yes.
Some of you probably weren't even born in 2003.
I was.
It feels like a lifetime ago. It's hard to believe they're back, but they are. Now, a few years ago, I made a video about my Bretonnian army and the progress that I'd made so far, but I've added a lot since then. So let's get into it. Bretonnians are best known for their knights on horseback, and I have a lot of
The
those.
guy has a
But what my
goose
army
on his
has
head,
lacked for
a
years is
gooseneck on
a
his
few
helmet.
key blocks of inventory to hold down my battle line. With the whole range out of print for a few years, I had to work hard to put together some of these units. Let's take a look. So these here are official Games Workshop 5th edition metal men-at-arms with spears. They've been out of print for years and are pretty hard to come by, but as you can see I was able to snag some on eBay. I was not able to get as many as I wanted though. As I mentioned, the tournament will be using 8th edition rules, and 8th edition heavily favors huge blocks of infantry. Now I didn't want to completely break the bank, and I wanted my army to be my own, so I turned to some other miniatures to fill out my ranks.
Hold on, I just want to check this out. So here's the cost, and these is pounds. These are pounds, correct? So, is this the whole set for 14? Like if you're getting 8 archers for 14 pounds, that's not bad, right? That's a pretty good price. You're getting all those units. 8, yeah, sets of 8 units. That's only like less than $2 each, roughly, right? Or $2 each. That's pretty good value. That's not bad. He said, I don't want to break the bank, but it's like, yeah, but that's actually not that expensive in my opinion.
Foundry Miniatures offers some suitable alternatives in their 100 Years War range, with some medieval spearmen and halberdiers that will fit the bill nicely. These guys are all positioned with their weapons leveled too.
Oh, those aren't official. Those weren't official. Those were another brand. They weren't the official brand. My bad. My bad. I misunderstood it. Okay.
Ranks in my unit. Foundry was founded by Brian Ansell, who was a hugely influential figure in wargaming who passed away very recently at the time of recording this. Rest in peace, Brian Ansell. Now, in a feudal society, people are bound to the land, and when the knights and lords are summoned to fight, they bring levies from their lands to fight with them. To reflect the feudal attachment of my troops to the different lords and knights whose lands they were drawn from, I decided to paint my men-at-arms in 2 different colors. The halberdiers I'll paint white and blue, and the spearmen I'll paint in black and yellow. With the tournament coming up quickly and a ton of men-at-arms to paint, I decided to use speed paints.
Well, I was going to say that's definitely not accurate, because aren't the colors like they're supposed to be the coat of arms of whatever army you're in? So, for example, if you were from this certain regiment of Britain or whatever, it would have been blue and black, but then your whole regiment has to match that color scheme because it represents where you're from, correct? So you wouldn't have 2 different detachments of your same army be 2 completely different color schemes. That wouldn't make sense because you're supposed to show who you're representing on the battlefield. And also it makes it so you don't have friendly fire and attack your same people from the same army, correct? But, I mean, I guess there's no rules against it. You can just be as colorful as you want. So there you go.
Using them over a white base coat, they add a vibrant color and contrast in the same pass, which saves a ton of time on painting.
Looks pretty good.
Back when I made my jousting tournament set, I made the noble presiding over the tournament this guy in yellow and black, for the simple reason that he has my favorite medieval hairstyle, the bobs and bangs. I made him the biggest tent as well, and I decided to make him the Duke of Escalifon, an imaginary duchy that I created. The name itself is just a pun, just like all the other names I come up with. Escalifon is just a made-up Frenchified word intended to sound vaguely like Wiz Khalifa,
what?
who of course had that famous song Black and Yellow, which are the heraldic colors of Escalifon.
He thinks Escalifon sounds like Wiz Khalifa. Okay. Sure.
Now, it sounds kind of dumb when I say it out loud, but honestly, having a pun as the basis for your made-up names does make them easier to remember. So my spearmen are the black and yellow of Escalifon, and the halberdiers I gave the blue and white color scheme of Saint Bleu Ciel, another made-up place name that just means Saint Blue Sky. That one doesn't even qualify as a pun, I think. I'm just scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to find something that goes with those colors. Anyways, in a short span of time, I painted up enough men-at-arms to make 2 units of 25.
Cool.
Or, if you combine them into one large movement tray, a formidable block of 50 men-at-arms. Now, it's pretty unusual to have this double color scheme. And
exactly, that's what I mean.
Weapons,
like,
but I find
pause, please. Jeez, sometimes it doesn't pause. It's weird because it looks like 2 different groups of army together next to each other. It doesn't make sense. On the battlefield, again, you want everyone in your army to be the same color scheme so you don't get confused and attack the wrong people. So this would be pretty counterproductive if this was a true military regiment. This is pretty neat. The thing is, I do want to split the part here, and I don't think we're going to watch the whole thing. I'm just curious if there's anything other interesting in here. Oh, what's that? Like a griffin? A griffin rider? Oh, no, it's a Pegasus. They have Pegasus units. That's kind of cool. Flying horses. Okay. What's that?
Enhance this illusion.
Another Pegasus rider, a completely different color scheme. That's nice. Mounted knights. Oh wow, those look those are really cool. Look at the detail. Look at the detail on the horses. Like I like how he did the dots on certain things, the crosses on certain things. He made all that up. He did it himself. That doesn't come like that. I like how the shields, he completely painted the shields in different ways so they look all different. That's really neat. I could totally get the hobby. I totally get the hobby, why it's fun. And then to be able to show this off. And I'm sure YouTube probably added a whole new level to this hobby because you can show your stuff off on YouTube in good quality. Probably previous to YouTube, you just had to rely on like internet forums or maybe even like go to an event in person. And now you can show this stuff off on YouTube, which is really neat. I enjoy this stuff. I find it relaxing. I find it interesting. This is good stuff. This is the classic Warhammer before 40K. It's pretty good. All right, guys, thank you for watching DSP versus the Internet, episode 59. That was part 1. Many more parts to come today, and many more ultra-level submissions to get through. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in part 2.